Hello, my name is Charlene Bogonko. I'm 20 years old. I am a Kenyan who lives in Minnesota. I've been here for the past 14 years. This election is important to me because as a Kenyan, I would love to go back to live in my country in the future once I'm finished with school. And it's important what sort of leadership we choose now because I think it's going to influence Kenya for the next, past this term, 5 years and beyond. And I think that it's really important how we vote and who we choose to be our leader, because as goes our leadership, so goes the country. So that's why this election is particularly important to me. And as I grow in myself and my identity as a Kenyan citizen, things like this begin to really matter. This has been the election that I've been the most involved with, the most knowledgeable about, the one that I've researched the most, and so it really matters. It counts a lot. For me, that is something that I wrestled with. There were some days where I was so passionate about being able to vote, and I wanted to cast my vote, and I wanted my opinion to be heard. But I think looking at it reflectively, it's a good thing that we don't have necessarily the right to vote when we're out of the country, simply because we're not in the country and we don't face the issues that Kenyans who live in Kenya every day face. While I have my ideals that I want for my country, things that I would love for Kenya to aspire to, leaders that I would choose over others, I think being outside of the country, I have a different view. I have what I see in the media, I have what I read in the newspapers, but I don't live there. So I think that may have been a smart choice to leave the vote solely in the hands of Kenyans. They did and didn't get it right. I have to say that after speaking with a few educated people about this matter, that they have focused a lot on what happened in the past, and while I think that that's important for us as Kenyans and in the general international community not to let history repeat itself, I think there could have been more of personal accounts from different Kenyans, seeing what they thought about the elections, what they wanted to see happen, how they wanted to see it happen, what they thought about tribal violence, ethnic violence, and what their perception was of the political atmosphere in the country and what the climate was going to be like in terms of whether or not violence would have occurred, whether it seemed as something in the near future with the way the political elections had been going. I'm most optimistic about the new constitution. So we have so many more posts, more governmental posts that Kenyans can vote for, meaning political power is so diffused. There's no longer this sense of winner take all. And that makes me really hopeful for my country, because I think that more people will have a chance to vote more people in, have more of their interests served, and leadership will have a chance to be dispersed. And I think that that can only be a good thing considering what we've had in the past. So I am really hopeful about that, quite optimistic that people are going to vote well, vote for what really matters to them. I'm anxious about what's going to happen. I mean, I don't know if we'll be completely responsible. There's always a fear that maybe things will go well, maybe things will go badly, but overall I have an optimistic attitude. I think that it's important for us to consider the actions of Willy Mutunga when he publicly announced what he perceived as threats from a certain group in the Kenyan society that is anti-anything, anti-Uhuru. So if you got that, the pro-Uhuru. I think that was probably the best thing I saw in terms of this election, just because it reassured me that there's somebody in our leadership. He's the Chief Justice, Mutunga is. There's someone in our leadership who's willing to be responsible for honesty, who's willing to be accountable not only to himself but to the general public that he serves, and someone who's not willing to call people out on their mistakes, to say this is wrong, this happened to me, this is wrong, I don't stand for it, and I want the Kenyans to know that this is happening and to vote accordingly. I thought that was the most brilliant thing ever, and it really gave me a lot of hope.